What if Michael Jordan played in today's NBA? Would he still dominate like in the 90s? Or would the faster pace and new rules hold him back? Every year, fans argue about whether players from the past could dominate today. Some say the old school guys were tougher, while others believe the modern game is faster and more skilled. The truth is, both eras were great in their own ways. Still, debates like LeBron wouldn't last in the 90s or Jordan would average 40 today never stop. This is G.O.A.T Report. Subscribe and like for more basketball stories like this. Could Michael Jordan really average a 40-point triple-double? Every now and then, some former players say something bold, that if Michael Jordan played in today's NBA, he'd average a 40-point triple-double. That means 40 points, 10 rebounds, and 10 assists every single game. At first, that sounds almost impossible. No player in NBA history has ever come close to doing that. But when you start looking at the numbers, maybe it's not as crazy as it sounds. In 1989, Jordan had one of the best all-around seasons of his career. He averaged 32 points, 8 rebounds, and 8 assists per game, just short of a triple-double. And he did that in an era where the game was slower, the defense was rougher, and every point was hard to earn. So imagine taking that same version of Jordan and dropping him into today's NBA, a league built for offense with more space, less contact, and faster play. What would happen then? How modern rules change the game? After Michael Jordan's prime, two major rule changes completely changed how basketball was played: the end of hand-checking and the start of the defensive 3-second rule. Hand-checking allowed defenders to use their hands to guide, bump, or push offensive players, making it harder to score. Once that was banned, perimeter defenders lost a big advantage, and offensive players suddenly had more space and freedom to move. The defensive 3-second rule also made a big difference. It stopped big men from standing under the basket all game, waiting to block shots. This forced defenders to move around and opened up the lane for easy drives to the rim. Since those two rule changes, scoring in the NBA has exploded. Teams now score about 18% more points per game, and even though players take almost 3 times more three-pointers, shooting percentages are higher. Today's NBA is faster, freer, and built for offense. Adjusting Jordan's numbers for today's game, let's imagine Michael Jordan's 1989 season in today's NBA. Back then, he averaged 32 points, 8 rebounds, and 8 assists per game. But with today's faster pace, more possessions, and offense-friendly rules, those numbers could easily rise. In the modern game, that same season might look more like 38 or even 39 points, 9 rebounds, and 9 assists per game. And if you add a few extra points from the quicker tempo, reaching 40 points a night doesn't sound impossible. Remember, during his 1987 scoring peak, Jordan averaged over 37 points per game, in an era where defense was much tougher. Adjust that to today's game, and you're looking at around 44 points per game. So maybe the older players aren't completely wrong when they say Jordan would dominate today. Would he average 40? Maybe. A 40-point triple-double? Probably not. But the fact that it even sounds possible shows just how special he really was. The truth behind the numbers. All these numbers sound exciting, but they're still just guesses. We can't really know what a 27-year-old Jordan would do in today's NBA. Unless someone builds a time machine, these what-if stats are just fun ideas. They don't prove anything, but they keep our imagination and love for the game alive. LeBron James, the king of easy buckets. Now let's move from what if to what's real. LeBron James recently became the first player in NBA history to score more than 39,000 career points. His scoring power isn't about crazy step backs or deep three-pointers. It's about mastering the simplest skill in basketball, finishing at the rim. Throughout his career, LeBron has made over 5,500 layups and more than 2,100 dunks. That's more than 7,600 easy baskets, over 15,000 points just from shots near the rim. What's even more impressive is that LeBron isn't a center. The other players at the top of the all-time dunk list, like Shaquille O'Neal, Dwight Howard, DeAndre Jordan, and Tyson Chandler, are all big men who play close to the basket. LeBron is the exception. Even after 20 years in the league, nobody can stop him once he starts driving full speed toward the hoop. What happens if we take away LeBron's dunks and layups? Here's a fun thought. What if we removed every dunk and layup LeBron ever made? Sounds crazy, right? But let's imagine it for a second. Without those shots, LeBron would lose over 15,000 career points. That would drop him from the top of the all-time scoring list to around 33rd place. Even then, he'd still have over 23,000 points, which is still incredible. But really, this what if doesn't make much sense. Dunks and layups are a huge part of who LeBron is as a player. Taking them away is like telling Steph Curry not to shoot threes. The three-point revolution. Speaking of Curry, the three-point shot has completely changed basketball. When it was first introduced, most people thought it was pointless. Hardly anyone used it, and coaches actually told players not to take those long shots. But slowly, things changed. The three-pointer went from being rare to being the most powerful weapon in the game. Today, teams win or lose based on how well they shoot from deep. One night they might lose by 50, the next they might win by 40. Shooting has become so valuable that some players now earn huge contracts just because they can hit threes. The three-point economy. Here's a wild example. Michael Jordan made about $86 million in his whole career. Davis Bertans, mostly known for standing in the corner and shooting threes, has already earned around $79 million, and that's how powerful the three-pointer has become. Thanks to Steph Curry, an entire generation of players now build careers around long-range shooting. What if Curry never shot threes? Now imagine a world where Steph Curry never made a single three-pointer. Without those shots, he'd still have over 18,000 career points. Impressive, but his all-time ranking would fall from 39th to 71st, near players like Isaiah Thomas and Jason Terry. Still great, but not legendary. The three-pointer didn't just make Curry great, it made him iconic. How much do players rely on the three? Let's test this idea with the 10 best three-point shooters of all time. If we took away all their threes, players like LeBron James, Vince Carter, and James Harden wouldn't lose much. They can score in many ways. But for players like Kyle Korver and Klay Thompson, their numbers would crash. Without the three-point line, their careers might not even exist. That's how much today's game depends on that one line. The line that changed everything. The three-point line was added 44 years ago, and it completely changed basketball. It created new stars, changed how teams play, and made shooters the most valuable players in the league. In the past, big men ruled the court. Now it's the shooter's game. It's crazy how one simple painted arc changed basketball forever. The in-season tournament, from doubt to excitement. When the NBA first announced the in-season tournament, fans didn't really get it. Many asked, why do we even need this? The regular season is already long enough. But then it started and everything changed. Every game suddenly mattered. The energy was crazy, win or go home. It brought that March Madness feeling straight into the NBA season. What if the playoffs were like that? Here's another fun what if. What if the NBA playoffs were a single elimination tournament? Just one game per round. Win and you move on, lose and your season's over. It sounds simple, but imagine the chaos. One bad night could erase a dynasty and completely rewrite basketball history. Rewriting 23 years of NBA history. Now imagine if, from the year 2000 until today, every playoff round was decided by just one game, like in college basketball. If we ran that version of history, only 8 of the last 23 champions would stay the same. The Sacramento Kings would have gone back-to-back in 2003 and 2004. The Suns and Magic would each finally win their first titles. LeBron would have earned his first ring in Cleveland in 2009 instead of Miami in 2012. Derrick Rose would have brought the Bulls back to glory. Even Kobe and Shaq would have kept their dynasty going. And the Warriors? They'd still dominate, but this time, they'd three-peat. The NBA would look totally different. How small changes create big differences. One game, one rule, one missed shot. That's all it would take to change everything. If the NBA playoffs worked like March Madness, legacies would look completely different. Some players might become legends, while others could fade away. That's the beauty of these useless stats. They remind us how fragile success in basketball really is. What useless stats teach us. At first, these stats might seem pointless. You can't really take away LeBron's dunks or Curry's threes, and you definitely can't replay Jordan's career in today's game. But these numbers do something special. They make us see basketball from a new angle. They remind us how much the game changes over time, and how rules, systems, and timing shape greatness. In the end, no matter the era or style, truly great players always find a way to dominate the game. Greatness isn't about eras, it's about adaptation. Whether it's Michael Jordan in the 90s, LeBron James today, or Steph Curry changing the game, true greatness goes beyond time. It's about adjusting to the rules, mastering every challenge, and pushing limits no one expected. Every rule change or stat doesn't stop greatness. It just gives players new ways to prove how special they are. The beauty of the what if. At the end of the day, maybe these so-called useless NBA stats aren't useless at all. They make us think, argue, and imagine. They keep the fun of basketball alive. We might never know what Jordan's numbers would look like today, or how LeBron would play without dunks, or what Curry would be like without his threes. But asking those questions makes us love the game even more. Because that's what sports are really about. Not just numbers, but passion, imagination, and those endless what-ifs. What do you think? Could Jordan really dominate today? Tell us in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe and drop a like to keep the debates going. This is G.O.A.T Report. Thanks for watching.